Hey y'all, extra episode of Afterthoughts this week because I need y'all's help with something. I'm working to select the next topic for the next episode of Creative Christians Podcast, and I thought, wouldn't it be great to have you listeners, select the topic for that next episode. I'm still working at getting a lot of guests lined up, so in the meantime, I'm going to do another topic-based episode of the podcast, maybe two more topic-based ones before getting to the next guest. But lots of guests in the works yet, so they're still coming. But I thought, well, what better way to select a topic than to let you all pick one that would be of most interest to you all. I will give you 3 options, so I do have some ideas in mind. I think all are really great, so I would just like to have you all vote in the comments about which one you think would be of most interest for me to cover in this next episode. I'll probably get it launched off in the next 2 to 3 weeks, so I'll spend the next week here or so gathering votes and seeing what you all would be most interested in having me cover. Okay, a couple quick things. One, if you are not already following Creative Christians either on Apple Podcast or whatever distributor you use or over on my Buzzsprout site, please take time to be sure and follow it now. Also, if you have not ranked the show with a star, rating, or left a review, even, I'd really highly encourage you to please do so. I'd really appreciate it. It helps me in rankings for the show, and I'm trying to keep the show growing all the time. And the review can be something as simple as, hey, 5-star review or whatever, and great podcast. That's it. Just something to help keep some reviews going, and it just improves my visibility in the rankings as I keep developing the show. So please, I'd really, really appreciate if you took the opportunity to do that. Take a minute and do that. That'd be great. If you want to leave a longer review, that's great too. But even just something simple, 2, 3, 4, 5-word review is awesome. Fantastic. Second, if you're also following this show here, Afterthoughts, on YouTube, my YouTube vlog series, and have not been liking episodes or commenting or following my channel over on YouTube, again, I'd highly encourage you to do so. I'd really appreciate that. Follow my channel, like the videos as they come out. If you feel so led, comment on it or share the video with someone who might be interested in the content. Any of that helps me a lot. I've been following a lot of the YouTubers out there who have much, greater subscriberships than what I've got. And they're running into a lot of issues where, YouTube has changed the algorithm and their audience has been cut in half, basically. And so with those changes, they're even struggling to keep their audience, to stay visible to their audience and to keep their audience. So you can imagine with somebody like me that's just kind of getting going again back into YouTube and revamping my channel and all, that getting going is a struggle. Added to that, I've also got working against me, so to speak, that I've got a lot of Christian content. So there's a lot of Christian language in my videos. A lot of faith-based discussions and things like that, which unfortunately sometimes works against me in terms of rankings too. So anything that you all, my listeners and viewers, can do to help support Afterthoughts on YouTube or Creative Christians on Apple or elsewhere is very helpful to me and to keep the show going and to keep it visible and hopefully growing and moving forward rather than getting, shrunk down in the ranks and nobody seeing it. So please, I'm asking your help on that if you can. It would make a big difference for the show. And of course, all I'm trying to do is help get the message out in different and creative ways. Okay, on to voting for picking the topic for the next episode of Creative Christians Podcast. So I've got 3 different topics, like I mentioned, that I will offer you as options to vote on. And you can either put the number in the comment, I'll do it as 1, 2, 3, or put the topic itself. Either way will work fine for me. But please vote in the comments, let me know which one you prefer. Okay, the first topic I'm considering is all about faith-based films. I brought this up in the last Afterthoughts, mentioned it in the current episode, inspiration episode of the podcast, where I just spent an episode of the podcast talking about faith-based films. We mentioned Sound of Freedom in the inspiration episode, so we would cover that in more detail. I would talk about films like, for example, the movie of The Shack, the book that was made into a film. The Kendrick brothers, who've done a lot of different faith-based films like Facing the Giants, Fireproof, Courageous, War Games, Overcomer was a recent one. A lot of those type of faith-based films. There's some by Steve Taylor, who adapted the book Blue Like Jazz into a film and did a film called Second Chances with Michael W. Smith. There's all sorts of different faith-based inspirational films that we could look at. And so I would spend the episode talking about that, talking about the messaging of those films, the creativity of those films, the filmmaking, the filmmakers themselves, and the processes they use, the budgets involved, were they successful or not, behind the scenes a little bit on those things. So we could just kind of dig into that whole world of faith-based inspirational films. I think it'd be a lot of fun. There's a lot out there, some better than others. As I mentioned in the podcast, Sound of Freedom really has changed some things about how faith-based films, I think, will be made going forward. So there's a whole lot we can dig into there. So that would be the first topic. If you're interested in voting for that, pick number 1 or put faith-based films in the comments. The second topic is also one I talked about in another episode of Afterthoughts, but me talking about some of my favorite creative books of the Bible. And by that I mean some of the books of the Bible that have more of an appeal to us as Christian creatives. Not trying to highlight particular books of the Bible over others or say they're better, but ones that kind of have a unique appeal to us as Christian creatives, that have some things to say about creativity or inspiration, or their style of storytelling is very creative or unique in different ways. And maybe it talks about designers or creatives in the Bible, or people that were inspired by God to do certain things. Or again, the book is just very creative in the way that it's written and the way that the story is told. So I'd probably pick 10 or 12 different books and discuss why they have an appeal to us maybe as creatives more than some other books. For example, you've got Numbers in the Old Testament and Revelation in the New Testament. Both deal with numbers, right? They're both very numbers-driven books in some ways. But I think you can easily say Numbers, the book of Numbers, is much more straightforward in how it deals with them. It's a lot of lists of numbers, things dealing with numbers, where Revelation uses numbers in a more symbolic, much more creative way. So that type of distinction in books, Revelation would be a book that would be on my list because obviously it's very creative. It's a lot about visions. There's a lot of symbolism in there. It's very interesting the way it's relayed. So that would be an obvious example there. You're not going to find Numbers on my list of most creative books. Probably not creative really for too many people unless you're an accountant. But that type of thing. And so we delve into a little bit about how Revelation was a creative book and why it's so fascinating, why it appeals to us as creatives, and what we can get out of that. So that would be the second topic that I would ask you to vote on. Third and final, last topic would be taking a look at AI, artificial intelligence, as a tool for us as Christian creatives. This is obviously a big, big topic. You hear Elon Musk talk about it. The latest Mission Impossible movie, Dead Reckoning, has a big AI villain component to it. It's everywhere. It's a topic that's on everybody's mind these days because it's kind of looming larger and larger. There's a lot of tools out there for creatives to use. Even here with my podcast provider, Buzzsprout, has some tools available that take care of about, 6, 8, 10 different tasks that when I upload an episode, it will do things for me automatically that I don't have to do. Everything from transcribing the audio of the entire episode that I used to have to pay somebody to do, to writing summaries, creating social media posts, creating a blog post, all sorts of things that it will do for me because of this feature they have called co-host AI. Huge thing, especially for us sole standalone, podcast producers, content creators, kind of one-man bands, that any tool like that will help us tremendously in efficiency, in productivity, in cost, in scheduling. Everything just is improved immensely. But of course, now I'm not paying somebody to transcribe. So somebody is losing a job, you could say, because of that. So there's all sorts of different things involved in that. But everything from transcribing audio for interviews or podcasts or what have you, to editing and producing videos. There's AI out there that generates videos. There's AI out there that paints digital pictures, creates digital imagery. There's AI out there that can create hosts, digital hosts for on-camera talent. There are all sorts of different things that AI is now doing already, here and now, that can be both helpful in the efficiency of what we're creating as Christian creatives, but can also be, potentially a little questionable in terms of the morals and ethics of where we're headed with things. So that's a whole topic we could look at, both the usefulness of a lot of tools that would benefit us, like I'm talking about with the podcast here, my podcast provider providing a very useful tool, but also the implications of what that could mean either today or down the road, and how that will affect things. And again, what is our role in that and using these tools as Christian creatives? How can we use them in a way that helps us to get our messages out, create better works that are even more creative, make the most of our time and resources, but also glorify God in the process and not take away from the value of how he created us as unique individuals and human beings to produce things that don't just rely on computers and algorithms and things like that. So that would be the third topic. Lots to delve into there too. All right, listeners, so it's up to you. Which would you pick? 1, faith-based films. 2, favorite creative books of the Bible. Or 3, AI tools for Christian creatives. You get to pick. Vote in the comments down below, either 1, 2, or 3, or faith-based creative books of the Bible, or AI, and I will know what you mean. And I will go with what you listeners select. I'm going to be doing this over at least a week. I've already posted briefly on Facebook about this. Now I've got this video. We'll do an Instagram post, and I'll kind of collect together all the votes in the comments at the end of this time period and see who wins, and then we'll make an announcement from there. I appreciate you taking time to vote and let me know which one would be of most interest to you all. That's it for this Afterthoughts. Thanks so much for taking time to watch, and thanks in advance for voting too. Y'all have a great day. See you next time.